Archaeology guide.
If you clicked
Dude, I need to watch this because I have not done archaeology yet and I need to learn because tomorrow I'm gonna start my archaeology character. Let's watch this, guys. Archaeology guide.
on this video, you're probably looking to 1. Level up your archaeology and classic cataclysm, and 2. Get your pre-rate best in slot item from it in the process. And that's exactly what I'm gonna show you how to do today, as quickly and as efficiently as possible, by both giving you the basics on how this profession works, as well as providing you with some tips and tricks that will save you hours worth of time in the process of leveling it and obtaining your pre-rate BIS items. So without further ado, let's get into it. First off, real quick, if you don't know how archaeology works, this is a secondary profession that was added in Cataclysm. Secondary meaning it won't take up one of your 2 main profession slots. It acts like cooking or fishing. The whole idea behind archaeology is that you go around the world searching for fragments to dig up in order to craft artifacts of a specific race. There's 10 different races / categories of artifacts you can craft. That being said, while leveling, you don't really need to worry about any of these different races. Just go to the closest dig site regardless of which race it belongs to, pick up all the fragments from it, craft an item if you have enough fragments to do so, rinse and repeat until you're max level. Now, most things you'll get to craft will just be useless common items, but with enough time and luck, you'll end up getting your coveted pre-rate BIS items. Now, the pre-rate BIS items from this profession, like Zinrock for warriors or DKs, or the Staff of Sorcerer Thane Torisan for
Oh my god,
casters,
look at
are
that staff!
really strong items. They basically will only be replaced by heroic level gear from tier 11 raids, but they're equally as powerful as they are difficult to get. We're talking tens of hours of flying around the world and crafting artifacts, but if you're up for the challenge, you'll get a super strong item that you probably won't replace for a while. With that said, you can learn archaeology from any capital city all the way from level 20, and the minute you learn it, you can open up your map and you'll start seeing icons of shovels around the world. Those are called dig sites, and they're places you'll need to go to level up this profession. Pick a dig site, it doesn't matter which one at this point, fly there and open your spellbook and then go to the profession tab. There you'll see an icon for a spell called Survey on the Archaeology tab. I suggest you grab this now and place it somewhere on your bar on a keybind that you can easily press. We'll be pressing this a lot from now on. So once you're inside the border of a dig site and you have the Survey spell handy, click it and this will spawn a small tripod device that will point towards the direction of the fragment in the dig site you're in. And it will also flash in one of 3 colors. A red flashing light means the fragment is more than 80 yards away. Yellow means it's between 40 and 80 yards, and a green light means you're very close and it's under 40 yards in that direction. Once you have collected enough fragments, and side note, you can only hold up to 200 fragments by the way. This is important to know for later in order to min-max your chances to get the items you're after, but more on this in a minute. Once you've collected enough fragments, you'll be able to craft an artifact, and once you craft said artifact, it will be replaced by another artifact to craft of probably common, maybe rare, or if you're lucky, epic quality. Obviously, the pre-rate BIS items are of epic quality, and unfortunately, some races have more or less items than others. So depending on which race the item you're looking for belongs to, it may be more or less difficult to get. One last thing about crafting artifacts. You'll sometimes see this little slot appear at the bottom left of your crafting tab. This is a keystone slot, and what keystones do is they add 12 fragments to your progression bar. Never craft an artifact without using these, as they will save you a lot of time in the long run. And don't worry about going over the required fragments to craft an item. The keystone fragments will bleed into the next item you craft. You'll be getting a bunch of keystones simply by digging up fragments around the world, so make sure to keep them around in your bags. But if you run out of them, you can also buy them from the auction house. Now that's the idea with archaeology. You'll be doing this again and again from levels 1 to 525. That being said, if you learn this profession, it's probably not just for the sake of leveling it, but rather to get one or multiple pre-rate BIS items from it. And for that purpose, there are a few tips you can apply to maximize your chances of getting the big ticket item you want and minimize the time it takes for you to do so significantly. First off, when you first learn archaeology, From levels 1 to 50, you'll be getting skill ups by simply digging up fragments. Past that, digging up fragments won't level up your profession, so this means that you should avoid crafting any artifacts until you're level 50. When I was leveling archaeology, I did this and I managed to get from 50 to 100, and 50 skill points in archaeology is quite a lot, so that saved me quite a lot of time. What is a big deal though is the next step. You probably already know which item you want to get out of archaeology, but what you should also do is figure out which race this item belongs to. Here's a list of all the epic items you can get in archaeology, along with which race they belong to. Once you see your item on this list, what I need you to do next is basically never craft any artifact of this race until you reach level 450 in archaeology. The reason for this is basically because the minimum level to start seeing those big ticket items is 450. Now of course I say never craft items from the race that has your pre-BIS before 450, but as I said earlier, there is a cap on how many fragments you can hold for each race, and that cap is 200. You'll probably reach that cap with that faction on your way to 450 if you don't craft anything from them. So do craft items to not reach the cap, but make sure you reach 450 with around 200 fragments for that race, and don't just go spending all your fragments to craft useless items before that. The next important tip is that the best continent for you to level up in is Eastern Kingdoms. The reason for this is because Eastern Kingdoms is slightly smaller than Kalimdor, and it also tends to have dig sites that are closer to each other compared to Kalimdor. You'll also notice that you'll unlock outland dig sites at level 300 that have Draenei and Orc artifacts.
You don't want to go
dig sites
outland,
at 375 for Nerubian and Vrykul artifacts.
Yeah, you don't want to go there either.
Oldun dig sites for Tolvir artifacts at 450. Unless you specifically need an item from these races, there isn't really a point to going to those continents.
You know.
So just stay in Eastern Kingdoms all the way till you reach max level and or get the item you're after.
To level up
Something
the skill,
not
right?
many people talk about, the epic items you get from archaeology are all account bound, meaning you can mail them to any of your alts. This makes archaeology a bit more alt friendly, as you really only need to level it once on one of your characters. That being said, it's already very long and tedious to get one pre-BIS from this profession, so you're unlikely to want to do it all over again. But if you happen to be lucky enough to get a pre-BIS from another class that you already have, at least you didn't get that item for nothing. Lastly, let's talk drop rates. In archaeology, every race has a set amount of common and rare artifacts that can appear, and thankfully, only one epic artifact, meaning we can easily calculate the odds you'll get your epic item from those races. For trolls, the odds of getting Zinrock are thankfully among the highest at 7%. For dwarves, the staff is unfortunately only at 3%. The epic chest from night elves at 4%, 10% for the epic mail helmet from orcs, 17% for the one-handed axe from Vrykul, and Tolvir here is a bit particular.
Am I not gonna get the stuff before the kata's out? I still need to level the dwarf. I gotta hurry, bro.
It has 6 epic items out of a total of 13 artifacts, making your odds of getting an epic artifact at 46%. However, you cannot guarantee which one you'll get. And also, Tolvir dig sites share spawns with all of Kalimdor dig sites, making these Tolvir artifacts quite tough to get if you're after them. And that's about everything I have for you today. As I said at the start, leveling this profession and getting your pre-BIS items from it require a...
I don't know, you guys saying 7% is too high? Is it lower than that? The 7% means you get on average like 15 souls.
A lot of patience and many hours of digging fragments and crafting artifacts. But you'll get some of the best items in the game that will last you all the way till you're ready for heroic raids in tier 11 or once tier 12 and 13 release. So good luck on your digging. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a like and subscribe, as there will be more content like this in the future. My name is Numidia, and I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye for now.
Let's watch another archaeology guide, in case like this guy mentions something we didn't hear. I need like 5 more minutes anyway.
Is an insane profession in Cataclysm, and today I will help you get you to max level, but also talk about some of the benefits of leveling this profession. One of the main reasons is the different level 85 epic weapons you can acquire. These will be your pre-raid BIS, and the good thing is that they will also be bind on account. So if you acquire them on your main, you could always send them to an alt character whenever you reach level 85 on that one. This profession will also be important to level up as a caster, as you can get yourself 2 different amazing staffs. On top of this, there's also going to be a shield for a tank and a one-hand weapon you could also use for tanking or as a DPS. Not to mention all the different toys and also mounts you can get. There's going to be many different things and it will take time, but if you're watching the video in the pre-patch, it will also give you something else to do. Alright, so as an Alliance player, head to Stormwind City, and as a Horde player, head to Orgrimmar. Once you reach level 20, you can start learning and leveling up this profession. In your profession tab, Survey will now appear, and this is going to be the ability you will use in order to dig up the different fragments. In the pre-patch you will be able to get this profession to 450, and when Cataclysm launches you can get it to 525. Next, enable show dig sites, and then on each continent there's going to be 4 different locations where you can level up your archaeology. You won't be able to use survey unless you also move into the circle on the map, like you can see right here in Stranglethorn. At this point you're also ready to spawn the different telescopes, or well, the objects here that will indicate how far away you are from the fragment you're trying to dig. If it's glowing red, then you're far away, yellow, you're getting closer, and the moment it turns green, it's probably in between 5 to 30 yards away. The way the telescope is pointing is also the direction you should be looking, so as you can see right here, I'm moving a bit forward, and now I also dig up the fragment. In the beginning, this will also be how you level up the profession, so simply by finding the fragments, and this can be done in between level 1 to 50. By the time you reach level 50, you will no longer get any skill points when you're finding a new fragment. So what I usually do next is to head back to the main city and learn the next rank of Archaeology, so I can get this to 150. But the only way to get this to 150 is simply to solve the different tasks. To do this, you just use your fragments. As you can see right here, I'll need 39 fragments in order to complete this common task. When you solve a common task, you will be given 5 skill points. There's also going to be rare ones, and these will give you 15 skill points. So it's super easy to level up the profession, and on top of this, when you're finding a fragment, you're not just getting 1 fragment at a time. No, you'll be getting in between 4 and up to around 9 fragments every time you dig something up. It probably won't take you long until you get your first rare thing you will need to solve, and this will also reward you with a toy. Later on there will be different pets, and like I mentioned earlier in the video, the weapons and also the mounts. As you continue to level up the profession, you will most likely also find some keystones. These will be important to keep, as it allow you to level up the profession even quicker, or also to make a bit of gold, as you can sell them on the auction house or purchase them on the auction house to speed level your own profession. Like you can see right here, I add in the keystone, and this allows me to also solve this task. I add in another keystone, and this gives me 12 fragments, allowing me to just farm a bit more to solve yet another thing. Here are some tips and tricks. Make sure to bind your Hearthstone to Dalaran, as you can then use the portal to either Stormwind City or Orgrimmar, but also the portal to Caverns of Time in Tanaris. This is especially useful whenever you have to start using survey at the southern part of this continent. Not to mention the portal you can use in Orgrimmar close to the Mage Trainer. This will take you to Blasted Lands, so if you have to use survey at the southern part of this continent, well, then you will also get there quickly. This is also the same case as an Alliance player. Close to the Mage Trainer in Stormwind City, you will find a portal to the exact same location. Yeah, it won't save you a lot of time as an Alliance player, but then again, everything counts, as you probably have a lot of other things to take care of. What I've also noticed is that these portals are actually up in all the different main cities, so if you were in Ironforge, it would all of a sudden also save you a bit more time. So you continue to level up the profession by solving different things, and by the time you reach level 300, you also unlock the possibility to survey in Outland. I like this area a lot, basically because now there's only going to be 2 different kind of fragments you can get, so it's going to be a lot easier to solve the different things compared to, for example, leveling up the profession in either Eastern Kingdoms or Kalimdor. When Outland, when you only have 2 different kind of fragments, you can easily solve the different things. And what I also noticed were that when you don't have many zones in Outland, then there's also a high possibility that you will either have 2 or 3 different dig sites in the same zone. This was so helpful and allowed me to level up the profession even quicker.
So basically, you want to get like 200 troll fragments in Eastern Kingdoms, and then associate like 200 troll and like maybe 200 dwarf. You want to go Outlands to level up the rest of your archaeology, and then when you hit 450 you go back and you start solving, and then you level in Eastern Kingdoms. That's what I think you need to do, right?
Yet another benefit is that a lot of the areas where you have to survey is also small in Outland, therefore it's going to be quite easy to find the different fragments. Some of you might not want to go to Outland,
I need
and
someone
don't
to
worry,
queue with,
you
guys.
can
I
continue
need
to
like 2
level up
dungeons.
Archaeology all the way up to max level by staying in Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. By the time you reach level 375, you can also start heading to Northrend. The downside is that there's also going to be a way higher chance that you will pull nearby enemies, and this will slow down your leveling speed. So what I did myself was simply to level up in the zones that I preferred. Most of the times it would be in Outland, but also a bit in Kalimdor. So by the time you reach level 450, you will not be able to continue leveling up the profession in the pre-patch, simply because it's gated and you will need to wait for your level 80 to 85 journey to also level up this profession to 525. But then you simply just proceed and do everything you have done so far in the guide, and this will get you to 525. A quick tip for when you reach max level, and this is no matter if you do it in the pre-patch as well, continue to do archaeology and solve the different things, because at some point you might also get a new task where you'll, for example, unlock a mount. I did this myself in the pre-patch, and there's going to be other things I can still unlock. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see other Cataclysm videos, for example class guides, leveling, gold making and a lot of other things in the future, then make sure to subscribe to help me as a content creator, but also to get notified the next time I post a new video.
Subscribe, then like. Thank you. Great video.